All right, let's talk about something we all do, but maybe not always that well, setting goals. We're not talking about just making a wish list here. We're going to dive into how to build goals you actually finally achieve.
Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever set one of those huge goals, maybe a New Year's resolution? You're super excited, you're all in, and then by like February, it's completely fizzled out. Yeah, we've all been there.
And it's so easy to blame ourselves, right? To think, ugh, I just don't have the willpower. But here's the secret. The problem usually isn't you, it's the goal itself. A lot of the time, it just wasn't built to succeed in the first place.
So, how do we fix this? Well, we need a better system. We're going to use a really powerful and proven one called the SMART framework. Think of it like a filter that turns those fuzzy wishes into powerful, actionable results. So, SMART is an acronym, and it gives us this awesome 5-point checklist for any goal we set. It has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is basically our roadmap for the next few minutes.
To really see how this works, we're going to take a super common but really fuzzy goal and run it through the whole SMART system. We're going to transform it, step by step, from just a nice idea into a real plan for victory.
Okay, let's kick things off with the first two letters, S and M. These two are all about taking a goal out of the clouds and giving it some real-world clarity, and, a way to actually track your progress.
First up, S for specific. And the big question from our source material here is probably the most important one to start with. What exactly do you want to accomplish? You got to get crystal clear. No more vague ideas.
So, for example, a vague goal is something like, I want to get better with my money. I mean, it sounds good, but what does it even mean? A specific goal is way more powerful. I want to save money for a down payment on a house. Boom. Instantly, we have a clear target.
Next up, we've got M for measurable. And what's so cool about this step is that it defines the finish line. The question you have to ask is, how will I know when I'm done? Because if you can't measure it, you can't really manage it.
Let's keep building on our example. Saving for a down payment is specific, sure, but it's not measurable yet. So by adding a number, we make it real. I will save $6,000 for a down payment on a house. Now that is a target you can actually track. Okay, so our goal is clear, and we know what success looks like. But is it actually possible? The last three letters, A, R, and T, are all about grounding that goal in the real world and giving it the urgency it needs to actually get done.
A is for achievable, and the question here is just beautifully simple. How can this goal be accomplished? This is where your big, lofty goal gets broken down into an actual plan.
See, a goal is only achievable if you've got a realistic path to get there. For our example, saving $6,000 might feel like a huge mountain to climb, but breaking it down to saving $500 a month and then making that happen with an automatic transfer, okay, that's an achievable plan.
Next is R for relevant, and this part is all about your why. The question to ask is, does this actually seem worthwhile to me? For a goal to stick, it has to genuinely matter to you. It has to connect to your bigger picture, making all the effort feel important and totally worth it.
And finally, the step that creates all the action. T for time-bound. A goal without a deadline is just a dream. So the final question is super direct. When can I accomplish this goal? And a timeline like this just shows the power of it all. You set a start date, January 1st, let's say, when the transfer begins. You add a midpoint check-in to see how you're doing, and you have a clear end date. This structure turns that vague someday into a real schedule. It creates accountability.
So we've done it. We've taken our simple, fuzzy idea through every single step of the framework. We've sharpened it, we've measured it, we've planned it, and we put it on the calendar. So let's look at the final transformation. Just look at this. We went from, I want to get better with my money, to this incredibly clear, actionable statement. That after goal, it's not just a goal, it's a complete instruction manual for your own success. There's zero confusion about what needs to get done.
And that's really the whole point, right? Vague goals are why we get frustrated and give up. They don't give our brains anything concrete to work with. But SMART goals, they create a clear, compelling roadmap that leads you right to success.
Which leaves us with one final big question for you. Now that you have this framework, what is the very first goal you're going to make SMART?
This explainer was based on the SMART Objectives template from the Better Business Analysis Institute. Thanks for tuning in.